Like an angel in the morning, shooting star across the night. The most beautiful girl I've seen in all my life. Every second spent with you, it's like a day that starts brand new. Girl, I'm so amazed at all the things you do. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you my arms are always. Girl, you are my sunshine, baby, don't you go away. I want me, all over me, or let me alive. I will love you forever. I want me, all over me, or let me alive. I will love you forever. I hear music in your words and in the way you call my name. When you're by my side, I can't do anything. You're my best friend, you're my lover. Without you, no one else would do. Through thick and thin, I know we'll make it true. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you forever and for always. Girl, you are my sunshine, baby, don't you go away. I want me, all over me, or let me alive. See, I will love you forever. I want me, all over me, or let me alive. I will love you forever. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. Oh, you are me, all over me, already alive. See, I will love you forever. My sugar, my honey, my lover, I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend, I will love you forever. I place no woman above you. I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby. I will love you forever. And there's no one other girls to lose. I will love you forevermore. Ever and ever and evermore. I will love you forever. Cause you are my baby, my sunshine. I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever. I will love you. Like an angel in the morning, shooting star across the night. The most beautiful girl I've seen in all my life. Every second spent with you, it's like a day that starts brand new. Girl, I'm so amazed at all the things you do. Yes, I wanna build my whole world around you. So I promise you my arm around for always. Girl, you are my sunshine, baby, don't you go away. I want me, all over me, or let me alive. I will love you forever. baby. You are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. My baby, you are my sunshine, my love and my essence. There's no one like you. You are me, look at me, already alive. Say I will love you forever. My sugar, my honey, my lover, I will love you forever. My baby, my lover, and my best friend, I will love you forever. I place no woman above you, I will love you forever. I promise to always love you, baby, I will love you forever. And there's no one other girl to lose, I will love you forevermore. Ever and ever and evermore, I will love you forever. Cause you are my baby, my sunshine, I will love you forever. And when there's nothing more to say, I will love you forever. Forever and ever and ever and ever, I will love you forever.
All right, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining today. We will be starting right away. Today we are discussing planning. And the next 3 episodes is very important, and that will be pointers. The next week will be pointers. Pointers basically looking at checklists, and then we'll be looking at promiscuity. Promiscuity is actually infidelity in marriage. It's becoming rampant. I decided to slot it in before we round up this program. So the next 3 episodes is going to be important. The promiscuity is going to be 2 sessions, and of course the pointer will be 1 session. But today, let's look at planning. The youth of this generation are faced with great challenge of choosing life partners. Many have followed practices and not principles, and these are the situation where many people have found themselves in separation or divorce, and some even find themselves engaging in paternity fraud. And this is rampant in many marriages today in our world. So the goal of this program is to help everyone that will be part of this program to get it right in this critical area of their lives. You will hear some uncommon ideas about marriage in this series. But please note that these are based on research. They are based on current reality of our times. They are based on statistics, science, and even scriptures. So listen attentively with open mind. But remember, you can go back and check. Don't take my word for it. Go back and check some of the thought that was shared to be sure that those things really are so. I would like to start this session by saying that it is the man that decides to go and ask for the hand of the woman in marriage. Therefore, before you take this step, you should be ready to take full responsibility for the lady and the unborn child that will soon join the family. And these are questions ladies need to ask. This man asking for your hand in marriage, can he take care of himself and also take care of 1 or 2 people in addition? Does he have what it takes? That's why I don't encourage, sometimes a brother wants to get married and they say, let's contribute to support him. I like to give money to people when they finish their wedding so that they will have spent money just to start life. I don't like buying gifts because I feel, you can be buying gifts that many people will buy and it's useless. Everybody buying the same thing, So I like to give money, but I'll give the money after. Because I feel you should not do more than you can handle. Nobody should put you under pressure to do what you don't want to do, or what you shouldn't be under pressure. You should do what you can do. Don't try to impress people. I was talking to someone recently. They've done traditional, very elaborate, from the East, very elaborate traditional. And the lady is still asking for white wedding and grand reception. And the guy does not have the money. And the lady is insisting it has to be done. And I was telling the guy that, don't you think this is a bad sign? if you don't have the money and your wife is insisting it has to be done, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't even show me that the both of them are a team. If your husband to be say, look, guy, I mean, my dear, I don't have the money for this, so let's just do this. You should be ready to support him with what he has rather than insisting. Can you imagine? Because of friends, he has been to the wedding of a lot of our friends and he wants our own to be like them. Can you see? Such a person also is going to have a big issue when they get married because they are going to be able to compare themselves to others. However, there are situations where some men talk about the fact that they have potential. There are guys that propose to you as a lady to have your hand in marriage. However, when you look at their current state, they cannot even take care of themselves, talk less of taking care of you and your child. If the guy is saying he has potential, then there are two things you need to look at before you take the decision to go ahead with him in that marriage. And this includes history. Where has he been? Where is he now? If he has potential, he has been on the same spot in the last 5 years, he doesn't have potential. There should be a sense of progress. And then the vision, history and vision. Where is he going? History has to do with where he's coming from, what he has achieved in his life since he left school, what he has been doing with his life. History. He might not have gone very far, but he's making progress. You can see semblance of progress from where he used to be. That's good. You can say indeed he has potential. But more importantly, where is he going? Where was he 5 years ago? Where is he now in terms of income, in terms of personal development, in terms of investment, in terms of business, stock, bonds, in terms of growth in general? Where was he? Also check to see was he 5 years ago, where he was 5 years ago. Sorry, where was he 5 years ago and where he is now in terms of his secular life, career, his spiritual life, and of course, in his service to humanity, and of course, service to God. If the history is satisfactory, the next thing to check is the vision. He might have a semblance of growth. He's moving. He's not been in the same spot for the last 5 years. So indeed, he has potential, but what's the vision? This has to do with the picture of the future that this guy sees for himself and for you both together. As a matter of fact, you need to ask that question. You know, many women going to relationship, a lot of women are regretting their actions today because the reason why they marry sometimes does not even make sense. The guy said, pray, and God told him, you have not heard from God yourself, you just went ahead. He said God told him, and you believe God is telling you. But for me, when people tell me God told them, I said, because you can hear wrongly, then you should have a checklist to validate what you believe you heard. If you don't have a checklist to validate what you believe you heard, if you heard wrongly, you know what will happen? You will live with the consequences of that action if you have heard wrongly. But if you have a checklist, let me give you an example. If you believe God is leading you to a guy, even churches now do it. Do you know churches now do that checklist? If you go to a church, in many churches, if you say you believe this is the person God wants you to marry, they will say go and do blood test. As far as the churches are concerned, they believe if God loves you, he cannot make both of you to go and marry and begin to give back to children who are going to give you pain for the rest of your life, who you might even lose in the process. So it won't give you that kind of marriage. So if both of you are AS, that's a sign that one of you or both of you heard wrongly. That's a sign that one of you or both of you heard wrongly. That's a sign that one of you or both of you heard wrongly. You know why? Because this is a checklist right there. That's a checklist right there. That's a checklist. So even when you believe God has spoken to you, you should have a checklist. And I will show you some of those checklists tomorrow. Next week. You should have a checklist that lets you validate that, okay, I think God is speaking to me, true. Or, I'm not sure I heard correctly. It's like I heard wrongly. Oh. It's like I heard wrongly. Oh. So churches knew that even when people say God led them, sometimes they can't stop you. If you say whatever God said, you're the one that will face it now. So why should they stop you? But when they realize that they can see visible evidence that this cannot be true, they will stop you. If they see that both of you are AS, they will stop you that no, this cannot be true. Because this is going to lead to future pain. This is going to lead to future agony. God is not an author of confusion. God knew that one of you is AS. He can't allow both of you to be AS and marry each other. Churches are now using checklists. So imagine, churches are using checklists. You are not having checklists because God has spoken to you. How unwise can you be? No, how unwise can you be? Churches who taught you to hear God before you go ahead are now using checklists to validate your hearing. They are using checklists to validate your hearing. And one of the critical checklists is that both of you are not AS. That's one of the critical checklists. That both of you are not AS. That both of you are not AS. A very important checklist. Very, very important checklist. So you cannot say that you will not include this kind of checklist. Can this person take care of himself and take care of you and the baby together? So if the history is good, how about the future? Where does he want to be in 5 to 10 years from now, in 20 years from now? And this has to be in terms of his income, in terms of his input, and in terms of his investment. Where was he last 5 years ago? In terms of his income, input, and investment. Income, earnings, input, personal development, growth, and investment. Where is he going to be? What's his vision 5 years from now in terms of his input, income, and investment also? Where does he want to be in terms of his secular work, spiritual work with God, and calling or service to humanity? Where does he want to be? 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 Where does he want to be in terms of his secular life, spiritual life, and service to God and humanity? So where is this guy going to? And what is his goal to achieve the vision? What are the objectives that he needs to be, that need to be realized to achieve that vision? What are the strategies he has put in place or is deploying in order to achieve that vision? And what are the plans? He can't just tell you this is what he is looking at. What are the plans? I mean, man proposed, God disposed, but at least there must be a plan of action. How do you intend to achieve this thing, this lofty idea? What effort, what are you putting in place to be able to? The idea is this. The guy does not have a plan. You might help him with the plan, but there must be a plan. There must be a plan. To be satisfied to go ahead to marry this man, to marry a man that does not seem to be doing well today, but claim to have potential, then you need to check the history and the vision of the guy using these criteria we have spoken about. So there's nothing wrong if he's not doing so well today. But if you are still going to go ahead, even though he's not doing well now, there must be yardstick. You can't just do it by faith. You can't just do it by faith. He's not doing well today. But where is he now? Where was he 5 years? Is there a sense of progress? Because if it's already progressing, that means in 5 years from now, he will have moved from where he is now because it's progressing already. And what is his vision of the future? Having sorted out these issues of potential, a couple can then begin to plan their finances in terms of how to manage the income and expenses of the family. Please note, there is no finance without romance. There's no romance without finance. I hope guys will listen to me on this. There is no romance without finance. You are going to have big issue with your wife if you can't take care of the family. You are going to have big issue. You're going to have big issue You must be able to take care of your family. At least basics: food, shelter, clothing, food, shelter. At least basics. You must be able to. Else, you know, a lot of Christians do untold. That's why when Christians are not serious about their finances, I worry for them, because if they become under financial pressure, they will do what they're not supposed to do as a Christian. Why? Because they're under financial pressure. They will do what they're not supposed to do as Christians. But they're not taking their financial life seriously. Please, let me say at this point that each marriage is unique and different. So they should be approached in a different manner based on peculiarities. Now, let's discuss financial planning, for example. It is important to know that marriage is not economic empowerment, and your children are not your retirement plan. As a lady, marriage should not be your economic empowerment. As a man, marriage should not be, that means you shouldn't go to marry because you need economic empowerment, because someone will take care of you. No, no, no. And giving back to children and investing in their life should not be your retirement plan. Should not be your retirement plan. Financial planning is very important. And if there is no plan for this, it might become a major problem for the marriage in future. Major problem. If you are working together, it is easier to keep a joint account. But if you are not working together, you can choose to keep a joint account or not, depending on what works for you. Depending on what works for you. However, let me stress that any relationship that denies you of your individuality is a bondage. If you want to keep a personal account and your husband or wife is insisting on a joint account, that's a bondage. It can't insist. You should do what is convenient for you. You can have a family joint account where you save for the future, but you can't be putting money in the same account, both of you. For me to spend, I must contact you. For you to contact me. Some people, it works for them. It's your individuality that is important here. If it works for you, that's fine. But just know that any relationship you get into that denies you of your individuality is a bondage. It's a bondage. It's a bondage. Now, someone recommends 4 different kinds of accounts. Someone recommends 4 different kinds of accounts. Number 1, it says, a family should have 4 accounts. 1 is the husband's account. 2nd is the wife's account, personal account. Then the 3rd one is expense account. And the last one is investment account. The expense account is where they put the money they are going to use to be able to take care of home front. For example, money for light, money for water, money for waste, bins, money for food, money for benevolence, all the regular expenses you incur every month. Then investment account is money you put aside, either for houses you want to buy in future, or investment, what do you call it? Rent, school fees, as in money that you need for big project, school fees, rent, buying land, buy houses, whatever it is you want to do as investment in future. That investment account, nothing should touch it, no matter what happens. Nothing should touch it. In fact, sometimes you put it in a recurrent asset. A recurrent asset. A recurrent asset is an asset that you can easily convert to cash. It might take a while. It's not like house. House is a fixed asset, but a fixed deposit is a recurrent asset. That means that one, you can convert to cash within a short period if you need money. Maybe that kind of stuff. So the first one, like I said, is the husband's account. This is what the husband used to receive salary, and this is where he spent money from. If the husband wants to buy a recharge card, if you want to buy petrol, if you want to transport himself to work, if you want to buy data, if you want to go for seminar, if you want to pay his tithe and offering, that is where the money is coming from. The second is the wife account. That is where the wife used to receive salary, the one where he spent like buying recharge card, petrol, transport, data, seminar, and the like. The third one is the expense account. This is where you keep money for feeding, for laundry, for electricity, for TV subscription, for monthly bill, all the money bill, all the monthly bills are put in this account. All the monthly bills are put in this account. All the monthly bills are put in this expense account, like feeding, laundry, electricity, water, TV subscription, and all other recurring bills. Now, this account is funded by couples every month after they have received their salary, and the contribution is based on pre-agreed ratio. So you can agree on the ratio you want to put in this expense account. For example, you can agree that let's use maybe 70-30, maybe 50-50 or 60-40, whatever works for you. Whatever, I won't make any recommendation, whatever works for you, as your power can carry it. The wife can contribute more if you can afford it. The husband can contribute more if you can afford it. Then the last one is the investment account. The fund here should not be touched no matter the circumstances. It is the family savings and is used to finance projects like school fees, like rent, like mortgage, like land, like building, like cars, like if you need to travel. I mean, like people that want to jackpot, for example, postgraduate program, education, life insurance, and the like. This is, you should not touch this one, no matter the problem. Because it's supposed to be used for those capital projects. Those capital projects. Now, these are recommendations. You can modify as it suits you. Remember, any relationship you get into that deny you of your personal individuality or individuality is a bondage. You should be free. You know, many people don't know this before they get married. Remember what I said? There's no romance without finance. For those that are facing it, they will tell you, there's no romance without finance. Don't make that mistake of thinking that you won't be able to take care of your family and you have peace. You'll be shocked. Even if your wife is a Christian, you'll be shocked. The kind of thing you'll be saying. Not because she wants to say it, she's just frustrated, and it's human. And it's human. And it's human. So both parties should be signatories to this investment account. Please note that no amount should leave this account without the agreement of both parties. So that investment account, that means now as a couple, when you collect your salary, you have a percentage you are going to put in expense. Let's say you are going to contribute 30% to the family. Maybe out of that 30%, 20 is going into what's the name? Maybe you're contributing 50%. 30 is going into investment, 20 is going into expense account. That's what you want to do as a wife. And the husband is contributing, the wife is contributing 40%. So out of the 40% is contributing 20 into investment, 20 into expense. Husband is contributing 60 of the amount. The 60 husband contributing 40 is going to investment, 20 is going into. So the idea basically is this. At the end of the day, the idea is this. That investment account should be a joint account that both parties have a signatory to. That means no individual should single-handedly take money out of that account. No individual should single-handedly take care of that account. Take money out of that account, rather. Someone is dropping a message. Good evening, sir. Please, I need the link to the recorded video. Okay, you can join the, I don't know, I will drop for you the link to the WhatsApp group. If you join the link to the WhatsApp group, at the end of every session, I always drop the link to the recorded video within 24 hours. So I've dropped the link to the WhatsApp group. That's Ola Jason G. If you click on that link, you will join the WhatsApp group. When you join the WhatsApp group, later today or tomorrow, you will get the link to the recorded video. When you get it, you can then search for others. It's actually recorded audio. The video also is on YouTube anyway. Okay, so now, please note that both parties should be signatory to this account, and no amount should leave the account without agreeing. The fact that someone is your pastor does not mean he's now your mentor in every area of your life. Being anointed to raise the dead does not make a pastor a marriage counselor. The challenge for many is the fact that they think because the pastor is a pastor, he can counsel them even in finance. Maybe the pastor himself is struggling with his own finance. It is important to discuss planning of the family in terms of the number of children also. Please note that having many children when you are not strong financially is a voluntary enrollment for poverty. Having many children, by many I mean 3 or 4, anything 3, 4 and above, anything 3, 4 and above, when you are not financially strong, is a voluntary enrollment for poverty. It's a voluntary enrollment for poverty. The reason why in the olden days, men have many wives and have many children is because they see children as security to take care of them in their old age, and also as free, cheap labor. They see the children as security. If this one does not do well, the other one will do well to take care of them. And they also see the children as cheap labor. Since they don't know which of them will be successful, hence the need to have many. So at least one will be successful. One will be successful. Secondly, they do not have money to pay laborer, and therefore they give birth to many kids who will eventually become cheap labor to cultivate their farm. So you should therefore have as many children as you can afford to groom into responsible human beings who can be a gift to our world. You know, I'm also contemplating adding a little on parenting into this program. I'm contemplating that. I might add it before we finish. Parenting. Because a person that does not even understand parenting, a person that doesn't even understand parenting, a person that does not even understand parenting. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? A person that does not understand parenting is having many children. Is that not disaster? That's disaster, I tell you. It's disaster. It's disaster. A person that doesn't understand parenting is going to get married and have many children and contribute more to the challenge of our world. Please note, there should be a plan to diversify the source of your income. If both of you started together as salary earner, you should both also plan towards when one or both of you will start his own business. Diversify your sources of income. Diversify your sources of income. If both of you, if your intending partner or husband or wife is not supportive in all this planning process for finance, for the number of kids, and for the family welfare in general, that is a red flag. Your wife is saying you want 5 children, and you don't have finance to even take care of one. And you say, no, we like children, no. But the husband is saying, in our home, we are plenty. I want 5 plenty children. And during courtship, if both of you have issue on finance and you cannot agree, that's a red flag right there. That's a red flag right there. That's a red flag right there. For example, if you or she hold philosophy that we don't need to save, if God says we will be rich, we'll be rich. Or he or she holds the belief that Children are the gift of God. Therefore, we don't need to do family planning because we will be blocking God's blessing. Run for your life, oh. You don't do family planning. We don't need to block God's blessing. Run for your life. You don't want to do family planning? You don't need to save? When you have this kind of strange philosophy, it is important that men try as much as possible not to carry a load that is not necessary if they cannot afford it. Don't carry a load that you cannot afford. Don't carry unnecessary load. If you are focused as a man and you are providing shelter over your head, food for your family to eat, clothing for your family to cover themselves, you are doing well. You are doing well. So your focus as a man is to provide shelter, food, and clothing. Primarily basic. The reason why many men are under so much stress and therefore having high BP and even erectile dysfunction is because they are carrying too many additional load that are unnecessary, which life and their environment has put on them. Have you noticed that men tend to die early than the women? Most of the time, the men die early. Stress, you know. In fact, there is a section in this program when we'll be talking about pressure. After we've discussed promiscuity, next week, like I said, we are discussing pointers. That's like checklist. Then we'll discuss promiscuity for 2 sessions. Then after 2 promiscuity, we'll discuss pressure. Pressure will be 2 sessions. Pressure will be 2 sessions. That will lead us to December. Pressure. We'll discuss pressure. Oh my God. Pressure. Pressure is killing many men. Many men are under stress. You know, when you are stressed, when you stress, you release stress hormone into your system that stretch your organs and increase the aging of the organ. And increase the aging of the organ. Stressor, increase aging, and make the organ become very weak, and then the person die of one organ failure. So men are under enormous stress, and I'll be discussing this stress issue when we are talking about pressure in relationship, in marriage, pressure. Some people will have lived long, but for the fact that they married, they will have lived a very long life, but because they married, they put themselves under pressure that nobody put themselves. Society put it on them and they accepted it, they received the pressure. Your focus as a man is to take care of the basic needs. Basic needs. Also know that he that find a wife find a good thing, and that means as a wife, you should be bringing something good to the table beyond sex. You should be bringing something good to the table beyond sex. So support your husband, beyond cooking, beyond taking care of children. You should be bringing something to the table. Because you know what? Any woman can cook, any woman can have sex, any woman can take care of children and have babies. What are you bringing in addition to support? Because you're supposed to be helper to this man anyway. One of the causes of problem in marriage is an ineffective courtship. If the courtship is not well done to discuss how we want to live together in marriage, that is what creates problem. These issues are not discussed. They won't discuss issue of third party. They won't discuss issue of sex. They won't discuss issue of money. You should have discussion around critical issues that cause separation in marriage. We'll discuss this severally. Top on the list is communication, followed by sex, followed by money, followed by third party, followed by unrealistic expectation. So you should have discussion. During your courtship, you should discuss issue around communication. 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 If I say sorry, what does that mean? We should agree on what it means. That means I'm truly sorry. And then you need to stop discussing raising that issue again. Why? I've said sorry. So we can move on. Agree on how you want to resolve issues. Then agree on sex. Discuss. I don't know. I spent 2 sessions discussing sex in this program. I hope you guys will discuss it. I hope you will discuss it. These are things people shy away from. Someone you want to marry, you're not discussing it. If it's already sexually active, that will be a problem for you as a man or woman. If the guy is already sexually active, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be you need to hear women discussing this issue. Women, they complain a lot about this issue. A lot about this issue. And for believers in which maybe the guy has kept himself all along, or the lady has kept himself all along, and then you're marrying a partner that is already sexually active, even though he has stopped those kind of lifestyle, but the activity, the stimuli and the experience is still in the brain, and it's going to compare when you get married. So you had better discuss it. If you say he's sexually active, discuss how far did he go? How far did he go? He has multiple girlfriends, or he had just one? What kind of act in terms of style of sex has he engaged in? Out of the one he engaged in, which one can he not do without? If he tells you, can you also do it? Are you willing to do what he's asking for? Plan these things and agree on it. Then third party, family. If a family is coming, they must give you a notice, and there is a maximum number of time they must stay, unless they are coming to do omugo. Even when they come to do omugo, when you give back, how long can they stay? You must agree on all this. One of the causes of problem in marriage is ineffective courtship. If the courtship is not well done to discuss how we want to live together in marriage, that is what causes problem in marriage. For example, you marry a man that says you have to be at home and take care of children and not fulfill your dream. And not fulfill your dream. You should plan. Do you want a full housewife? If you want a full housewife, is your wife ready for that? Are you going to be paying her salary for being at home, doing nothing, or taking care of kids rather? The woman is to be blamed in this case because she should have cleared all this before going into the relationship in the first place. How can you carry your life and hand it over to a man that believes that your place is in the kitchen or your place is in the other room? How can your place be in the other room? This is synonymous to marrying an 18th century man in 21st century. The woman that allowed that is to be blamed because you should have discussed this. You should have discussed it. The courtship time is a time to lay foundation for the marriage and set up the family constitution. And this includes which church you want to go to. Which church do you want to go to? Which vision do we want to have as a family? What do you want to achieve in this family? What is our vision as a family? Where are we going as a family? What will be our contribution to the society? How many kids do we want to raise? What do we want to develop this kid to become? What picture the kids do we want? What do we want our kid to contribute in the society? How do you handle in-laws? How do you handle in-laws? How do you handle in-laws and third party? How do you handle finance? How do you handle people living with you? It is important to avoid marrying a Pan-African man or Pan-African woman. Marry a progressive man and a progressive woman, not an African man or African woman, a progressive man and a progressive woman. That is what you should marry. That is what you should marry. A progressive man, a progressive woman. That is what you should marry. Important question you must answer. A progressive man, who is a progressive man? A progressive man does not see anything wrong in washing the clothes of his wife, or washing the dishes, or washing his own clothes, or washing the plate, or changing diapers, or helping to cook, or helping to do our chore, or helping to pound if necessary. A Pan-African man is a cultural man. He elevates culture above principle and scriptures, and so does not see anything wrong in yelling, shouting, or even beating his wife. He does not see the wife. He sees the wife as a property, not a personality. And that's as he sees the wife as a property, not a personality. So the wife does not have his own freedom because he has paid the bride price. So he owned the wife. Can you imagine? He has paid the bride price, so he owned the wife. And you should have seen the traces of this during courtship. You should have seen the traces of this during courtship. He owned the wife. He owned the wife. His marriage to him is transactional. You get married to me, so I can have sex with you. Or so you can have sex with me. So you can give back to my kids. So you can take care of my children. So you can cook my food. So you can wash my clothes. The Pan-African woman coming to marry with viruses. Virus of dependence. Is depending on the husband. Viruses of submission to tyranny. Submission to abusive relationship. Toxic relationship. And she does not even want to develop herself. She depends on the man for everything. See another one that just happened recently now. The lady has been abused severally. She even said it on social media. Eventually died. I mean, how many women will die from domestic violence? Something is wrong in our society, sincerely. I don't understand why one of the reasons why a lady stay in an abusive relationship because of the society, what society will say. He has not developed his own individual mind, or because he doesn't have money to take care of himself, so he can't maintain the expensive lifestyle, so he will stay there until they kill him or kill her. So ladies and gentlemen, planning is important. Remember the different area of planning. Plan how you will manage your finances. Plan the issue around in-laws, third party. Plan the issue around sex. Plan the issue around the number of children you want to marry or want to have. Plan the issue around where you want to live. Plan if you want to travel abroad. Plan about further education. Plan about doing your business. Plan every goddamn thing and put pen to paper. And remind yourself from time to time. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for being able to join tonight. Let me hear from you. What have you learned tonight? Emmanuel Ate, good evening. Hello, Emmanuel, good evening. You can unmute yourself and let me know what you've heard, learn, and let me know if you have a question. Hello, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, okay. Ola Jesu. Ola Jesu, good evening. Can you unmute yourself? What have you learned tonight? Ola Jesu. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Samuel, good evening, Samuel. How are you? Okay, Ola Jesu say she can't talk. Okay, he can't talk. Samuel, good evening. Yes, you can drop your comment in the chat. Ola Jesu. Yes, you can drop your comment or question in the chat. Samuel, good evening. Hello, Samuel. Samuel, are you there? Victoria, how are you? Long time.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, long time. Where have you?
No problem. Yeah, Saturday evenings have been more busier for me now. So I just tend to listen during the week every month.
Okay, yes, I noticed that. I see your name among the people that listen afterwards. Yes, what have you learned tonight?
Thank God. So tonight we told about the planning, as regards the marriage, the wedding, and how it is that we should actually live within your means. We gave the instance of someone that the wife was asking for a white wedding even after an elaborate child. So some signals are actually there. If you have a partner that is not like in the same team with you, you're not in agreement over certain issues. These are actually signals that we should watch out for. And these are things that should be discussed during the time of the courtship. And it's important to know that romance, it's talk about finance and romance. There's no romance without finance. It's good
Yes.
that issues like finance, issues like sex should be discussed very well before, how you want to spend your money, how you want to bring in money. Because if there is no money, truly there may be love, but then that love self may even begin to have shaky legs, and it's like, I thought we love each other. We must still find ways to bring in money. And as a woman, in as much as the man is really responsible for let's say the basic necessities of life, as a virtuous woman, it is important that we bring something also to the table, not just sex, not just raising children, but also assist financially. And even if it doesn't have to be that the guy is the only one that is earning higher, you may even be earning more, still put in your own part. And then we talked about the checklist. I think that's going to come later, but the fact that even if you think God is speaking to you, the tendency is get to even hear wrongly sometimes. So you have to place it side by side with some checklists that you need to ensure that okay, this is really God or it's not God actually. Because thank you very much for tonight.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Okay, someone else dropped a message. Samuel said, most time men die early because of stress and pressure. The two must help each other to bear their burden. Stress and pressure increase aging and make the man's organ malfunction as if he were old. Hence, low erectile function and some other things. During courtship, you must discuss issues around communication, sex, third party, family, how long they should stay in your house, financing, business, education, and location to live. Someone else said, joint account issue. Nobody should have access to joint account without the other party consent. And then, of course, your pastor is not your counselor in every area of your life. It might be your counselor on spiritual matter, might not be a good counselor on finance because he himself is unable to handle his finances very, very well. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for being able to join tonight. See you next week as we move on to those checklists and pointers I talked about. See you next week. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and bye-bye.
Good night.
All right.